PAWSitively Petland Show, AM 800 KXIC. Hope you're having a nice, quiet Sunday morning as we get ready to talk pets here with Ron Salzer from Petland of Iowa City. You can always check out the podcast of this if you miss it, or if you just like to listen to it a little earlier than today, you could always listen to it at kxic.com. Just click the podcast page and you can listen in there. And also on YouTube. I should mention, Ron puts these up on YouTube. You can see us, see what we look like. Hi. Occasionally puppies too. Not today though. But we do have puppies that come by the studio. It's always fun. And Ron is here this morning. Ron, how are things?
Life is continuing to be good. Had that spring break, got re-energized, still feeling it. So life is really good. Store is, you can tell it's warm outside.
Yeah, we talked.
Store is ablazing.
Last week we talked about the leashes. People, that those sales are going up and people are getting out and walking the dog more.
Yeah.
It's a good sign of the season. I've been enjoying it myself. My boy certainly has been enjoying it, running around the neighborhood, going wild, and spending time outside without a coat. That's a nice feeling, huh?
Wait till Jack becomes a teenager and he goes out when it's 0 degrees without a coat. And like looks at you with those facetious eyes, and watch me.
Look how tough I am, right?
Yeah, and you just go, okay, you go
ahead,
and then like
that.
10 minutes later sneaks back in and gets
go get that coat. Yeah, so it is nice. It's been turned the corner here, and certainly time to talk pets is what we do here on the PAWSitively Petland Show. And what we're going to do today is feature the Sheltie, which is a miniature collie. And do you have one of those available at the store?
We have two? And I am profiling them because I don't see too many Shelties these days.
My cousin had one growing up. It was a good dog. It liked to play around a lot, and it was a pretty nice dog to have, and shedded a lot, I remember, though.
Yeah, they are a shedding dog. We'll talk about that, but they are a small shedding dog. So, if you've had a golden or you've seen what a golden does, hey, this isn't quite the same thing, but yes, it is a shedding dog.
Okay, so we'll feature the Sheltie. We will also talk about a new brand of pet food.
Natural Balance is coming out with Wild Pursuit. It's in the stores, and it's an interesting product. I just wanted to profile that.
And we'll also tell you about a day in the life of a dog owner, especially for any of you that have those accidents that happen around the house. Ron's going to help with some information that might help you out at your home if you ever having some trouble with the dog. Leaving some presents or going either way around the house. There's ways to stop that, and Ron's going to help us with that.
For both the young and the old.
Okay.
And that's not talking about the person. That's talking about the dog.
For the puppies and all the older dogs out there. And then also we'll have the Amazing Pet Story of the Week, which will take us to Oregon today, and a dachshund that became the hero. So that's what we have lined up for you today on the PAWSitively Petland Show. You say the store is booming, which is great to hear. I always like to get good reports about lots of customers coming by and getting their supplies, and of course new members of the family. And I saw, what I noticed is when I was checking out last time I was there, on your computer screen you have a rolling pictures of customers with puppies, and it just kind of reminded me to see all these people that come by, get these pets, and they're smiling and leaving. That's, I guess, one of the positive things about your store is the fact that all these people in the community have new members of the family, and they're going home happy with their pets.
That is the neatest thing about having Wendy and I owning that pet store is people come in happy and they leave even happier. And so think of a business that has that kind of an aspect to it. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and of course you can always, if you even if you don't get your puppy from Petland, you have those free puppy classes, which is good.
Whether you've gotten them from us or not, we would love to help you with that training. Whether it's potty training or barking or biting, and we can help you with that.
And since this is Sunday morning when this is airing, what time do those puppy classes start?
If you wanted to be in the class, it's free. Just show up 10:30 Sunday mornings. If you're on your way to church right now and that's not convenient for you, just come on in and say, hey, I'm having some issues. I'd like to talk with somebody about that. And we'll do one-on-one training with you right then and there.
Okay, and just note the store doesn't open until noon today on the Sunday.
Sundays noon to 6, and then So how do you say it? Monday through Saturday.
Mhm.
We're open from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m.
Also, what's fun for me is when I'm at the store, just kind of noticing how the employees are working, and when I come by, see what's happening at the pet store. As I was walking in, I heard somebody walking out, a customer that just said, "Boy, you can't beat the $5 nail trims."
I love that.
Literally said that as I was walking in. I heard him say that, and I was thinking, and that's for so many people, it's such a not a fun job for the dogs, and you have people who do it every day, and so they could usually do it pretty quickly.
Oh yeah,
all sizes.
No waiting. Okay, there is some waiting time every once in a great while, but there's no appointments needed. Just come on in, and we'll get it taken care of. We have
$5.
We have a kennel technician that does that a lot. Lots of experience with it. And they'll take care of that for you.
Good deal. So the $5 nail trims, free puppy classes, and of course a wide selection of supplies and toys and everything you need. And what I like too is about this show is I learn about all these products because you do go to different trade shows throughout the year and you find out some of the new cutting edge pet supplies. And we always, for me, it's fun just to hear about what's on the horizon, what's coming new. And then of course, as a business owner, you've got to do the whole trial and error thing and bring in new stuff. And sometimes you think, oh, that's going to be great. It's
a big one.
And then it just sits there on the shelf. And then there's other times you think, maybe take a chance on this. And then soon you're ordering more. Mm-hmm. And I think last week you said one of your vendors said, "Are you sure you want to order that?"
Yeah. Those are the buffalo horns. Yeah,
horns.
those things are amazing. We got all sorts of different shapes and sizes of those, and they go crazy. Every time I go by the basket, I go, that basket at the beginning of the day was full, and now it's empty. And so good prices and really good product. It makes the difference. That was one of the Chirpy Chews. That you've heard that for a long time. The Clever Cat litter box for cats. All these things over the years that we've found.
Is that the one that I promoted?
The top entry,
the world's ugliest.
I love that.
It really is.
It is the ugliest litter box in the world, but it is the best. It almost eliminates tracking.
Yeah,
and I'm saying sweeping once every 3 weeks was what I used to do. Now it's not even once a month I sweep. Yeah. That's the incredible difference.
And it stops the dogs from putting their head in there too, which is really gross. It's such a simple. It's one of those things I kick myself. It's like, how could you not think of something like this? It seems like such an easy thing because for whatever reason, for years and years, it's always been a side entry gas box.
Right.
And it's just like, that's the way it is. It's a side entry. So too bad if your dog gets in it. That's just the way it is. But this is a top entry box. Yeah. And as a whole.
And the cat doesn't care.
The cat doesn't care. And the dog says, I don't want to put my head in that hole. And then, you solve your problem because they have to literally climb out. And then plus there's grooves on the top of it. So when they walk out, it catches more of the tracking.
Right.
And then, they're pretty much set to go. And then you're cleaner.
Yeah. So all these new products that we find and we're here, the trade show season has already started again, and so we're now back out there looking for what's the next latest and greatest.
Do you know when your next trade show is?
We've got probably 4 trade shows set already for the summer. I missed the first one.
Right.
Yeah, because we had some commitments with spring breaks. And
sounds like you do have a bunch lined up though, which is good.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to go to one of those with you sometime. So maybe we'll schedule that.
That'd be fun.
I think it'd be cool. I just like to see it.
It's a party when you get there. Here, you think, the pet store is fun and everything. When you go to these trade shows, it's a party, kind of a thing. And you're going and learning and it's it's booths, but these, there are so many suppliers and manufacturers and, mom and pops that invented something and are coming out with it and seeing what it will do. Picture couple of football fields big.
Wow.
And that's when you walk in, you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you never know when you go from booth to booth what you're going to see. So that's a lot of fun. What we'll do now is we'll do the amazing pet story. We'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the Sheltie. And then Ron will feature the new food and take you through a day in the life of having a puppy. So all that to get to here this morning on AM 800 KXIC. This is the Positively Petland Show. I'm Jay Capron. That's Ron Salzrud, owner of Petland of Iowa City. Big voice guy, we need your help.
It's time for the amazing pet story of the week.
He's got his umbrella and slickers on here.
It's not raining.
I know. I don't know. I think it's just because it's April showers. It's that season, you know.
Kind of celebrating.
He's celebrating that it's April. So I like the raincoat too. A nice big yellow raincoat. Looking good there, big voice guy. Thanks for your help announcing the amazing pet story of the week. And we go to Yam Hill, Oregon today. Now, this is a story about a little dachshund, an 11-year-old, so getting up there in age. The little dachshund's named Missy. She refused to return home until a neighbor followed her home to her owner and found that he had collapsed following heart surgery. Charles Mitchell said he was working in his yard and the Oregon wine country town of Yam Hill when he collapsed, and Missy scampered up and refused to leave. Mitchell told the dog to go home. She refused, and when he decided to follow her across the street to investigate, he found that his neighbor, Charlie Burden, had collapsed inside his home. A police chief arrived with paramedics. Burden, taken to the hospital, suffered an attack of vertigo. Had recovered and is healthy and ready to go, but who knows if it would have been discovered if it weren't for little Missy. It's our amazing pet story of the week. They always can sense that.
Helping the people.
I love it. I love it. Good story there out of Oregon. As we get ready to take a break, we will do that right now. Ron, tell us about your store as we go to break.
We're Petland of Iowa City, located across from the Sycamore Mall, now known as Marketplace. We I think we're getting pretty close to getting that new grocery store coming in. And so that'll be fun. We are all about having fun and educating in our store. Come on in and play. You can play with whether it's rabbits, gerbils, hamsters, guinea pigs, puppies, kittens, reptiles, fish. Just don't stick your hand in the fish tanks. That's all I'm asking. And it's just a fun place to be. We have that buy 10, get one free on all of our dog and cat food. We track it for you. You don't have to raise a finger on that. We'll give you statuses every time you buy one. Hey, this many more, and you get the free one. And then the $5 nail trims, like we were talking about earlier. Unbelievable. What did they say?
You can't beat that. Can't beat it. Yeah.
Can't beat a $5
customer testimony. True story. As I was walking into the store, they said that, and really does really mean that. I mean, $5 can't beat that. Bring dog in, they'll get the nails trimmed, and you're in and out pretty quickly. It's just about time for our breaks. Let's do this. We'll go to break, be back, and talk about the Sheltie, talk about a new brand of food, and also we'll have a day in the life of a pup. So stay tuned. AM 800 KXIC. Welcome back. It's the PAWSitively Petland Show, AM 800 KXIC, and on KXIC.com and YouTube. I'm waving and looking at the delay here. See, let's see if we see the wave. Yep. So it did. It registered there, and you can check it out if you'd like at a YouTube page. Just search Petland Radio, or you could type in PAWSitively Petland Show. Lots of different ways to watch us during the show. More exciting when we have puppies because they're running around having fun, and we hold them up, and you could take a look at the different breeds we talk about. But always available there if you'd like to check it out. As Ron mounts the camera up here at the studio, and you can watch the show. Ron's here. Ron Salzer, Petland of Iowa City owner, and I'm Jay Capron. And in the first segment, we talked a little bit about what Petland offers, including the $5 nail trims, free puppy classes, and we also mentioned we talked a little bit about what we're going to have today, and we had the amazing pet story of the week. So let's go to the breed of the week. Each week on this show, we feature a different breed, and usually it's a breed that Ron has available at the store. At the time of taping this, he had two little Shelties, little Sheltie pups. And where are they from? Tell us their background. I'd like to learn about the Sheltie.
The little Sheltie is commonly called, or essentially is the working collie in miniature, as AKC has pointed out. And so over when it was originally, getting it all figured out and what is the Sheltie, they were trying different things. And so they were taking the collie and breeding it with smaller dogs. And for those that, I want purebred, realize that all purebreds were mixes from the past and, came up with the design of today over time and said, this is a good breed for doing this or that. In this case, it's a herding dog. So they liked the collie, but for some reason they were looking for something smaller. And so they started breeding it with smaller dogs and then back to the collies to maintain that collie look and that herding sensibility and all that kind of stuff. And so they also say that they're alert, they're intensely loyal, highly trainable, and known as a devoted, docile dog with a keen sense of intelligence and understanding. So I loved all the adjectives that they used in there to come up with what the Sheltie is like. It's also been the most successful in obedience training, and so they're a really trainable dog, is what you're hearing on all that. And so it's a nice dog there. We talked at the front of this the show here. It's a shedding dog. So while this is a smaller dog, 13 to 16 inches at the shoulder, it is a shedding dog, and so I always equate it, if you're hypersensitive to shedding, the Sheltie's probably not your type of dog. But if you looked at the golden or of a golden retriever, or you had a golden retriever and just said, I just don't want that, well, realize the Sheltie is just as shedding as that golden retriever, but we're talking a tenth of the size, so that's a tenth of the fur, kind of thing. So some people would say, oh, I didn't even realize it shed. There's people out there that would do that. Good bathing, consistent bathing, as well as using the Furminator is a great way to minimize it even more. Proper nutrition, good quality nutrition is going to also minimize the amount of shedding of any dog. So those are ways to handle that. If the Sheltie is something that you've like, oh, I really like the Sheltie and I like what you've talked about already, I'm concerned about the shedding, those are ways that you can combat it as well.
I know another way. Furminator.
The Furminator is unbelievable as far as it will take 92% of that shed away. And so we sell a lot of Furminators in our store as a result. If you use them, they work. And that's my own testimony there. If I use it, it works. When I don't use it, guess what? It doesn't work all that well. Right. So then I got to catch back up again.
Different sizes of the Furminator?
Oh, right? Gosh, they've got different sizes all the way from small dog to big dog, from short hair to long hair, from cat to dog to you have the bunny. And as the bunny grows and starts shedding, they have bunny Furminators, which, if you compare it with the cat Furminator, you realize that it's just the same thing, just a different color.
Yeah. Okay.
So they are a wonderful tool. The collie originates from Scotland, and like what we talked about is, over time they miniaturized the collie. I like what they said here. Over time, subsequent crosses were made with collies. The breed worked as farm helpers and home protectors, watching over crofters, cottages, flocks, and herds from invaders of all kinds. Nice. So there is something to be said that it is, it's going to be a protective dog. It is a little squeamish of strangers, depending on how you've brought them up. If you expose them to a lot of strangers and show that strangers are all okay, they're going to be better with strangers. If you shield them and you're more of a in-house type person, and naturally they don't see as many strangers, then they're going to be a little more alert when the stranger shows up, probably known to bark at that point, kind of a thing. So unless, again, you've trained them to not bark. In that
Not
situation.
very intimidating, though.
No, they're a small
they're
dog.
tiny,
As
but
far as their ability to protect is very low. Their desire to protect would be high.
okay, all right.
So,
And that's the Sheltie. Anything else? Size
talk
you
about
mentioned.
shedding. So this is going to be a good apartment dog. So that's how small it is. It'll get all the exercise that it needs. It loves to go outdoors. So don't shy away from getting outdoors. If you are a jogger, this is right in that middle where the Sheltie will keep up with you. Maybe not on that long distance run, but on the shorter runs, a 2 mile, 3 mile, probably is going to enjoy that run. And as you build the stamina, will really enjoy that run.
Well, and I think maybe a way to describe what they look like is picture Lassie and then shrink it, right?
Yeah.
And that's basically what the Sheltie looks like. It looks like a collie, but it's tinier. And that's the Sheltie. That's the breed of the week here on KXIC, the Positively Petland show. And so now, do you want to do the food first, or do you want to talk about the day in the life of the
Let's do the food, because we kept on missing the food in the past, so we'll squeeze that in right now. I always like to talk about nutrition, both dog, cat, and small animal, and reptile, and fish, and say, hey, these are some of the things that you might want to open your thought, your imagination to. When people come into our store and we educate them on food, they walk out excited about buying the food they did. And I go, isn't it funny? We're excited about dog food right now. I go, but that's because we're doing something really different, and that is going to help our dog or cat. And that's what the excitement comes from. And so when you switch from I bought it based on price, it got a really good deal on this one, from the marts and the grocery stores and all that, realize that they're selling based on price. The quality has nothing to do with it. They're trying to get you to buy the product because it's low in cost. That's their only advantage. But we'll find out real quick, it's not an advantage at all, because when you switch to a premium food, yes, on the front end, you're going to pay more dollars. But here's the catch. You're going to feed half as much. Wait, if I feed half as much, it's going to last a lot longer. My dollars per feeding, or my dollars per month, or however you want to look at it, is the same as if you went to the grocery store, because you feed half as much. Another huge benefit, less poop. If you feed less and it's more digestible, so they get all the nutrition that they need out of it, now you're going to pick up less. Another added benefit with premium foods is you get the supplements that are known to work for you as well. Glucosamine and chondroitin. Hey, we know that helps promote healthier hips and joints and all that kind of stuff. We know that omega-3s and fatty acids are going to help us with our skin and coat, us as well as our dogs and cats. That's actually the component that helps the dog and cat shed less. Doesn't stop shedding, it just sheds less because it's a healthier skin and coat. All sorts of other things, depending on the age of your dog or conditions, or I've got one that's a little sensitive in the belly. They've got sensitive products out there for yours. Today, Natural Balance. So let's switch it to focus in on Natural Balance. The company Natural Balance has been making dog food, and I didn't look up how many years, but a lot of years. Remember Dick Van Patten from 8 is Enough? That's the guy that started Natural Balance, and he obviously has a love for dogs and researched this a long time ago. In my own research, they're the ones that came up with the limited ingredients or / grain-free products. Theirs first was limited ingredients to address allergy issues. They did the research to find out what are our dogs allergic to. Only like 5 to 10% of our dogs, that's the statistics that's out there, are actually sensitive to these things. The rest of us, we can feed the other stuff and we're fine. But 5 to 10% are allergic. So
well, if I could just for a second, I also think about this when we start talking about nutrition is if you picture, dogs have been around for, thousands of years. And if they're out running around, they're not going in the cornfield and eating corn,
Actually, they are opportunistic eaters. So they do eat grain. And if they
Really?
can't, yeah,
That surprises me. So
if
that's
they
why,
cannot find
if
game,
they can't find meat,
then they will eat grains and stuff, and they do get a natural amount of it,
but they're
not
gonna
as
want
much as
meat,
we
though.
would, though. If we were out in the woods, we're more grain eaters, but we eat meat. They eat meat a lot more than we would.
And the percentage, though, when you're looking at some of those mart foods that you were talking about, is certainly
I see what you're
just heavy on the corn,
right. And it's
so,
in the wild they would be heavy on the protein, the meat sources.
And note that the meat is going to be more expensive, also going towards.
And that's why you've got more expensive dog food. And that's why it's more expensive. You get what you paid for. But what's cool is the way the market is, and nobody designed it this way. You're not going to save any money by going and buying that. Oh, I can buy it for $20, a 40-pound bag. You're buying a lot of grain. They're going to not be able to digest a lot of the grains that they put in there. It passes through, and now you got to pick it up too. So when you go to a premium food, a lot more digestible to the point of you're going to feed half as much. And now you've got a lot less cleanup, and you got all that good nutrition that they were designed to do and eat as well. So what Natural Balance, they've come out with a new product called Wild Pursuit. And we all know that that's kind of one of the trends that dog foods are going after. They're, what did the dog eat when it was, in the wild and all that? I like it when they base it on fact, because that whole they don't eat grain thing is so pervasive out there. And it's incorrect.
Yeah, well, I just said that because I thought when I think about what dogs were like in the wild, I don't picture them eating stalks of corn or pieces of corn, but I could understand that if they can't find a rabbit or something like that, they would just go and try and survive.
And if they're walking through the field, they're going to go, hey, I need a little snack, and start eating the grain. I mean, it's more than just I can't find anything, so I'm going to resort to it. No, it is part of their natural diet as well. But like you said, also, it's a minor part of their diet. And so Wild Pursuit, one of the things that they did was it's a multi-protein product. So that's not just chicken, it's not just lamb, it's multiple protein sources. So hey, that's what happens in the wild, doesn't it? If I got a rabbit today, I got a chicken tomorrow, I got a deer the next day, kind of a thing. And so and fish on top of that. So their formulas have multiple protein sources. Another thing that the second thing that they did big on this one was when we cook foods at home, we know we're losing some of the benefits of it. When we eat raw vegetables, they're probably at the peak of their nutrition ability. When we cook it, hey, we might like the taste a lot better, but we lose some of the nutrition in the process. So what Natural Balance's Wild Pursuit has done is they've done freeze-dried components to their kibble. So you're going to find the cooked kibble in there, but they're also putting some freeze-dried products in there so that you get the benefits of that you would get if you didn't cook. So I like that. That's a really cool thing. We've actually been advocating that in the store. We have freeze-dried products in our store. We have frozen products in our store right now.
Yeah, I find that funny too.
We always say supplement that into the dog food. We say, keep on feeding the dog food, the premium dog food that you're feeding right now. But this would be a nice add-on at my own home. I've got freeze-dried products in my freezer, and I take them out and I supplement the food with that. So I get it. I get why they did it. It makes sense, and there's some science behind it as well, that they're getting more nutrition from the freeze-dried components within Wild Pursuit. And so they came out with it, and they've got I said multiple protein sources. They have a chicken and turkey with quail. They have a lamb, chicken, and guinea fowl. I'm not quite sure what the guinea fowl is, but it's a fowl. And then trout, salmon, and tuna, which is all fish components. I have one of my dogs are on a all fish component product. So I love the mix that they've come up with, and I think the product's going to do really well as a result. So, and Natural Balance is one of those, when you do your research, Natural Balance always comes to the top. And so it's a great company that been around for a lot longer than some of the Johnny-come-latelys that you've seen on TV and all that kind of a thing. So it's a really good product.
Good deal. So that's the food that Ron's featuring here today, quality food that you can take a look at, ask some questions about if you'd like at Petland of Iowa City. And now we'll talk about a day in the life of a pup owner. That's one of the things that is a challenge, no doubt. When you get a puppy, you always, I know, stress this when you were talking to your customers, is it's not just, let it go. It takes some training, takes some work, takes some consistency, and you're going to talk about what that's like. So you bring home the puppy, the kids are on top of the world. They promise they're going to help clean it up, right? Yeah, they promise they're going to do all the stuff that they promised they would do, and then within a week they stop. No, and then everyone's on top of the world, but then the dog starts peeing, right? And the dog starts pooping and whining at night, and then everyone in the house is starting to get upset. And so what do you do?
Yeah, and our family was there, and that's actually why Wendy and I own Petland, is we experienced that ourselves, and we then went through that discovery of how to handle it. And I said, there is really no good ways that the public figures this thing out there. It's all trial and error. We've got the internet, and gosh, if you would look at the advice on the internet, it's all over the place. I did a little bit of that this morning just to see, what is everybody saying? Oh my gosh, I saw and read all sorts of ideas out there. Realize the internet is not a great place or a resource to go, because you're just getting one, they're trying to sell something to you. That's what came up. Right, that was the highest search when I put potty training for dogs in there. I had 5 or 6 doing nothing but trying to sell me something. That wasn't good training. That was just, I understand why they're doing it, and I'm fine. But there was no basis for what they were doing as far as training and all that. So at our store, we have put together a package. If you take a puppy home from our store, or if you got it from someplace else, come on in and we'll educate you on this is what works. Some of the stuff isn't sexy. We go around the stores and we pick things based on, this looks good, and I like the way this looks. That's not how you want to buy things on training your dog. You want to, hey, what actually works? Why do I use it? When do I use it? And so we've put a training package, and then we go through the training with you and say, this is how to do it. And then we give you training that you can continue to learn while you're at home, whether it's on DVDs, on the internet, coming in for a class, doing one-on-one, over the phone. How do you learn? That's the way we work with you, and we figure it out for the life of your dog. So what we like to do when puppies are going home is, what does that first 24, 48 hours look like to you, so that, when you get a little off guard of, well, wait, I didn't know about this, you are now already like, oh, this is normal, happens, and this is how I handle the situation. It's a lot like us parents. When you bring that first child home, are we overly protective? Are we hyperly sensitive to it's crying? Yeah. What do I do? Yeah,
I remember that so clearly. Is that the first time the baby gets sick, you're just like, oh my gosh, trying to figure out what you need to do, and there's no handbook, right? So that's where moms come into play very nicely.
Oh, the natural instincts with mothers is so wonderful for us husbands.
Yes, absolutely.
But I remember, though, the doctor being an integral part of what we did. He was the one that showed me or told me to stop coddling Emily for an hour and a half before her bedtime to get her to go to sleep. You put her down and let her fall asleep. If she cries herself to sleep. She will eventually learn how to put herself to sleep. And Emily, I was doing it for 3 months, and within 1 day, she taught herself to go to sleep. And I'm like, you little stinker. Food. I remember them constantly saying, look, I know you're on the bottle, or you're on the sippy cup. Just take it away. Throw it away. Don't leave it as a backup. Your child will adapt. Same things happen with our puppies and our adult dogs. These are techniques you can use on your adult dog that's having those random or maybe very consistent potty issues. So you can teach an old dog a new trick, and obviously teach a new dog a new trick. So I like to go through the first 24 hours and just show you what it's like. So let's start towards the evening, somewhere around 7 o'clock at night. If your dog, and you've already known it, is having some potty issues, we, just like a child, cut the liquids from our dog at around 7:30 in our house. That way, they're going to have multiple times to go pee before they get into their bed, which is, we're going to call it the crib or the kennel, so that they can empty their bladder and not sit in that kennel with a full bladder all night long. So cut the water if you need to. If you have a dog that's moderating and modulating their own behaviors very well and not having accidents, then you wouldn't do this. In our house, we have a 6-year-old Susie and a 13-year-old Callie. Callie is fine. She understands how to stop drinking and everything. It's our little Susie, our trouble child, that will lap up that water. And so we have to raise the bowl at 7 to 7:30. So you let her out a couple of times before you go to bed. In our house around 10 o'clock.
But Kelly doesn't like that if she's thirsty.
No, she
understands
the process. Again, they adapt to routines. I'm not saying cut the water for a majority of their day, because now they're not getting enough water, just like we wouldn't get enough water. They will establish routines with you. If I back up just even a little bit more, if you have a problem with your dog pooping in your house, I would go to 2 feedings a day so that they don't constantly have food going through their intestines and going, whoop, I gotta go again, even though they went 2 hours ago. If you go to 2 feedings, just like here, we go 2 separate feedings. Hey, guess what? For most of us, our stools are very predictable. Every morning, the Constitution or whatever you want to call it, it's predictable. Same thing with dogs. So we've gone to 2 feedings a day so that it's predictable when they do poop. So now it's getting nighttime, and we want to get dogs going down for bed and all that kind of stuff. So you give them one last try outside, let it all out. Now come on in, and you make their bed in their kennel, which is also, I call it the crib, because you think about a crib for a baby. It's got slats, and you can call it a cage if you want. Just doesn't have a top on it, because babies don't typically jump or anything like that. And for the dog, it does have a top on it, and so it's the crib for the puppy. And you put them in there, and you make it nice for them, and you make it safe for them. So at the beginning for a puppy, maximum is a thin bed, so they don't get into trouble. They don't chew on something and choke on it or anything like that. A lot of people will even take the collar off their dog just in case it gets into trouble and gets it caught on something and gets panicked about it. So make it safe for the dog. Also, you want to get a kennel that has a moving wall in it. All of our kennels at our store has an adjustable wall on the inside. So you get an adult kennel or crib for your dog, and then with the wall that's movable, make it an appropriate size. Dogs are denning animals. When they're puppies, they love to hang out with mom in the den. It's nice and safe and everything. And then mom eventually starts going out and starts getting the food as well as dad. And so they stay in there to be safe and alone. And so they are naturally denning animals. They want to go into a tight space. If you think a kennel is tight, go look at images of what a den for a dog looks like. Holy cow, they are cramped and stuffed into this dirt hole, and that's what they thrive in. And so that kennel also simulates that in a much more cleanly, clean, comfortable way.
I think people have a perception, and I know I did too when we first got our puppy a long time ago, that it's a cold plastic, place for them to sleep, and they think that's being inhumane.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and so when you try to make it comfortable by putting blankets and things like that, I would imagine most puppies start shredding that apart, and then you just have a mess.
Right, and so every dog is different. Most dogs will actually just lay down and and sleep. Some dogs will chew, and I always say throw a blanket in there. My dog, Callie, she would scrape with her front paws at it a lot. We threw a blanket in there, and she scraped at the blanket, and what her motive is I want to get underneath. And so the blanket allowed her to get underneath, and she really quickly understood, and I like that padding underneath me now. So she didn't want to get underneath that as well. So you can try different things. If your dog is one of those that just chews up everything and makes messes, and you're concerned about the safety, the bed is taken away at that point. They're also, as puppies, going through that teething phase. And so, just like when we went through the teething phase, it feels good to clamp down. They're getting the same thing, and that's just how they're taking it out. If it's a nuisance and a big problem, then you remove the bed from the kennel. It's okay. They used to sleep on the ground, and that was okay back then. This is actually a flat ground and doesn't have any bumps or sticks sticking up. So it's still much better than what they had before, still comfortable, and it's temporary. They're training you at that point. Dogs are totally capable of sleeping through the night. If you have one of those really small dogs and you're a little concerned with it, hey, then why don't you give them a break at night? But don't have them tell you that. You set your alarm 1 a.m., 3 a.m., you walk out there, you pick them up, you walk outside, you let them down, let them do their thing, and then put them right back in the kennel and walk right away, even though they're you gotta walk away, because if you allow them to train you, well, then you're going to have that dog that trains you over and over again in ways you don't really want it to be trained. So that's how you handle a whining dog. We literally, for Callie, she was an older dog, and we were having Potty. Your ducks, so that you don't get all irritated and you're stupid, this and that. You don't want to get into that phase.
So first thing in the morning.
There we go. Let's go to the first thing in the morning. Now you have a loaded gun. Pick up the dog out of the kennel. Do not let them walk out, because they'll pee right when they get out if they're further along in their training. Now walk out where you want them to pee. Do you have a specific area in the yard that you want them to pee? Set them down right there, and have a treat or a lickety stick. You'll find those at our store. They're amazing products to train, and reward them as they're doing their business. You got to reward them right when they're doing it. You can't wait till they come back inside, because they just think coming back inside is why they got the treat. You got to reward them right when they're doing it. So when they're lifting their leg, doing the squat, or doing a little Humpty, you got to have the treat at their nose at that point, so that they understand, when I do this, I get a good positive reinforcement. So that is a key. So going forward through the rest of the day, that's what you want to do. You promote with treats and good dog, the potty and pooing and all that kind of stuff outside. When they do it on the inside of the house, hey, it's pretty much just a non-issue. You don't yell, you don't scream, you don't hit, you don't swat, or anything like that. The most that you're going to do is pick them up at that moment, walk outside, put them out on the ground, so that they understood, hey, all you had to do is go out there. That's the most you're going to do. If you do any of that other stuff, you're hurting yourself as far as training going, and you'll actually have other issues as a result. So remember, anger doesn't work on potty training in any way, shape, or form. Just stay calm, clean it up, use the Petland stain and odor remover with an enzyme in it for the cleanups. Remember that your dog, when all dogs are marking, all cats are marking. When they go and they pee on that hydrant, it's because they smell somebody has urinated there. They give that some permission to pee. When you're in your house, if they've peed in your house, realize that now is a permission in the future to pee. So you got to clean it up with a stain and odor remover, especially with an enzyme in it. The enzyme is what takes away the odor that they smell, that gives them the permission to pee.
And then the last part of the equation, of course, is consistency. So everything you talked about is keeping it up, and do before you know it, if that dog keeps going in the same place, they're going to realize that's the place I go.
You have learned well, grasshopper.
Yoda, yes.
It's a potty training we are.
Well, we are out of time for the show, Ron, so if you can believe it.
That one
packed a lot in there. It was a good show as always, and we appreciate you stopping by the KXIC studios. Just know that at Petland of Iowa City, there's a lot of puppies there that are ready to go home with you, and they have a variety that don't really stay there very long, which is a good thing too. You don't want them to be sitting in their kennels there at the store for months on end. It's an average of 2 weeks, you said.
Less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks. Yeah, good deal. Well, Ron, as we wrap up, any final thoughts?
I like what you said, and with any kind of training is consistency and then frequency. The more you do it, the more they go, oh, that is what you want, and then that consistency. Do the same thing every time, and they'll follow your pattern.
It's like advertising too, which is it's proven that there's facts that back it up that people, when they hear things on a consistent basis, the frequency, the repetition, that's how marketing works, and that's how training works, and parenting, and a lot of other things go along with that. Good information as always. This Petland, Positively Petland show, brought to you by Petland of Iowa City, is available on our podcast page at KXIC.com. So if you just got in your car and say, oh, I missed the pet show, go to KXIC.com. Podcast is up there, so you can listen to the whole thing while you're working out, while you're taking a walk, whatever you want to do. Go check it out, KXIC.com. Just click podcast. Ron, thanks.
Thank you very much.
That's Petland of Iowa City. $5 nail trims, free puppy classes on Sundays, and, of course, thousands of products. And maybe your next family member is at Petland of Iowa City. This has been the Positive Petland Show. Bye.